You know, life is a balancing act of sorts, of all sorts. When you were a child in school, maybe elementary, maybe kindergarten, they played a game called telephone. And when they played the game of telephone, they start out with the teacher whispering one thing in your ear, and by the time it went all the way around to the last person, the message had been misinterpreted. It was probably misinterpreted by the first person, but you wouldn't know that because you weren't the person who heard it. In life, when you play telephone, you tell someone something. That person interprets it, they take it to the next person. By the end of that day, that gossip is spread in so many different ways, in so many different flavors, should we say, that the taste is not going to be the same. God uses people to balance things out. Oprah interviewed, George Lucas years ago, and she said, when you said, may the force be with you, did you mean, may God be with you? And he said, no. He had no idea what, he knew what she was saying, but he knew that that was not where it came from to him. But God might just have a bigger picture, so that maybe he might not have been able to interpret it in that way. But, however, everyone else did. When Muslims say, peace be unto you, my brother or sister, it is to be said, it is to be felt with the utmost sincerity. Just as we are to treat our neighbors the way we'd want to be treated, right? You have a church, and when the plate goes out, that plate is given to each individual to pass it. Even if you don't have money to put in there, you are to pass it. It is your intentions to want the church to grow and to be vibrant so that it is able to invest in its community. Everyone has been given some form of religion or some form of teachings so that our world can evolve and be even better than it is. A lot of twisted turns have been occurring lately in the media, fake news, a lot of things have been happening. But are people forgetting that there is a balance that has to be granted? A balance between give and take. Even when you're racing, you run, you track, you're running as fast as you can. You give the stick to that person so they can continue the run that you could not complete. It's important that we look right now at our own behavior and figure out, where do we stand in everything? Are we a part of the problem, or are we a part of the solution? It's important that we evaluate our behavior, just as it's so easy to judge another's. It's important that we look and evaluate our own. I try to do this daily, and I realize that I'm going through my own transition based upon certain things that have happened in the family, both sides. But there is a healing that God is wanting to occur. Many people have been given chances to come forward, to tell the truth. Not everyone has decided to do that. And again, what you reap, you sow. So when things start to get complex and people decide that they'd like to hold on to the lies that they've built upon a situation, or that they are choosing to act as though they're not a part of it, because once you know the information is out there and you decide you don't want to share what it is that you know, you're constituting more of a problem. one of the reasons why policemen are to do a certain job in a community is to improve that community's circumstances, to improve the lives of the children who are watching, to improve the elderly's lives so that they can feel safe, although we all want to feel safe. When we look at a home, children growing up in a home, those children want to feel safe too. That goes without being said. Every child should be able to eat. Every child should have a bed to sleep in. And every child should be granted love. When you don't share love or spread love to the children, or you only spread love to a certain group of children, that is a problem. God is balancing things out now. He's balancing things out. He started balancing things out when there was a home that the older children were chosen, or should I say the older children were asked to leave, and everyone else were able to reside in that home. Everyone acts as though they don't know the story. Everyone acted as though it was no big deal, because you are not the individuals involved. I'm going to say this one again. Sometimes these experiences happen to individuals to make sure that they are better humanitarians. Because once it happens to you, once you are rejected by the people who are supposed to love and support you, you know how that feels, so you make sure that you don't do it in your community. You make sure that people do not feel rejected. You try your hardest to balance things out. And even if you make a mistake, you would ask that someone would step forward and say, hey, you stepped on my foot, and I would appreciate your apology. Nobody should have a problem with apologizing when they've done something wrong. No one should feel as though they're bigger than God, for it is God who is presenting these lessons to each and every one of us, so that we can become better people, better humanitarians. Right now, you have people who are going to be in the White House. They're going to be trying to get your votes so that they can move forward. There's a lot that God is working on right now, and we ought to be thankful for everything that we have. Our food, our livelihood, our everything. By you writing down 10 things a day, and I'm going to be honest with you, oh my goodness, I forgot to do mine today. I'm going to do it as soon as I get up here. It is important that we look at our actions, at our behavior. And if you had to walk around, here's another one. If you had to walk around with a 3-year-old each day, and that 3-year-old is looking up at you and watching your every move, would you make the same decisions? Would you steal from another person? Would you hurt another person? That child is looking at you. It's almost as though that's your mirror. You're looking in the mirror. Can you face yourself based upon some of the choices that you've made? This is not to make anybody feel guilty, but it is to make sure that you check yourself so that no one else has to help wreck you. You know, a person in jail, incarcerated, wants freedom. A baby wants to be free to run around and be able to play. Somehow we've lost touch with the reality of being true humanitarians, For a humanitarian is going to consider others and not just themselves. I leave you with this one, and I leave you with saying, it's so lovely being you, especially when you've thought of others, when you took certain actions. Make sure that you're being kind to yourself, but kind to others. Make sure that you're checking in, checking yourself. making sure that you are being an asset to our society and not the one who people would choose not to be around because of the choices and the decisions that you're making in reference to hurting others. I understand that we've all gone through some hurt in our lives, and I do understand the term hurt people hurt other people. However, this is a year of balancing. That red dragon, let yourself figure it out, and let us try to make better choices. It's so lovely being here.